Howdy. Welcome to my shop. My name's Ron and I'll be your host for the next 10 minutes or so. Being a fourth generation carpenter, wood is that's my language. It's my living, it's my hobby, it's my passion. One of those passions is making stocks. I've never had any formal training in this. I just wanted to put a piece of wood on a gun one day, and I seemed like that'd be a pretty unique challenge, so I tried it. And been going at it ever since, but honestly, I owe a lot of my success to my customers, my friends that have suggested this or that, different ways of doing it to produce a better outcome. And so I appreciate them. I owe them a great deal. The finish that I use was suggested by a friend of mine that owns a gun shop in Georgia, a guy named Dan. I've been friends with him for many years, and I owe him for that knowledge. So I don't suggest that my way is the only way. That's just not the case. I picked up my abilities to do this from watching other people and seeing other things and then figuring out how to do that. So it's a process. Some ways are better, cleaner, faster. They require less effort. On and on it goes. And I'm open to learning new and better ways. I'm always looking for that. My grandfather used to say, never let a day go by that you don't learn something. So when I do, I'll often look up, thanks, Pop, because no matter how old you get, you still need to be learning new things. So come on in, see what's going on today. Good morning. It's a beautiful spring morning here in southeast Tennessee. Today I'm going to start an Essex 20 gauge double, and it's had kind of a rough go of it. The buttstock has got some pieces missing where it joins the receiver. It's your typical side lock. It just doesn't have a lot of meat holding it together. We'll see if we can replace it. The forearm is okay. The forearm is actually nice and tight. There's nothing wrong with it. It's all original. Serial numbers match. Snaps in good. There's a little looseness on the pivot pin where it breaks down. But other than that, it's a nice old gun. I don't know they're very much about a Essex. I think they were a New York company back in the day. I don't think they're still around. But the customer wants me to make this one. He's going to do the finish work himself, and I've just got to match it, make it a 1/2 inch longer, put a workable butt pad on it, and then probably let him do the finishing, and I'll come back and add the checking after that. Just looking at this, I'm hoping that's not 14 lines per inch, but it looks like it's pretty good size. 14 lines per inch is big. I did a Fox one time, had to make my own cutter for that, because that may be 16 lines, I don't know. My tape is so worn out, I don't have 16th lines anymore. They're pretty close to 16. It's actually a little bit bigger than 16. That may be problematic. Anyway, we're going to get to work on this. The mechanics of it are pretty good. It's got a few little issues here and there. The screw heads are pretty good. Yeah, it's an old gun, it's an old piece. I usually ask customers if they will allow me to make this a teeny bit beefier in here. They're so tiny. They're just so delicate both ways. Of course, you can only go so far this way because you got your, the gun has to go back together the same dimensions, but the width, if I can add even 1/8 of an inch right in here on the wrist, it keeps it from just breaking all to pieces. Also, the way they milled them out, sometimes they took a little more than what they needed, and you end up with nothing there except just 4 little fingers like that, and no wonder they break. And then these were made for lower powered shells back in the day, and then when higher powered shells come along in the 60s and 70s, they pretty much made toast out of these little bitty delicate little stalks. I like to keep these screws in the same places that they come out of, because with these old guns, oh my goodness, you just never know if screws have been changed and replaced over the years. And like that, so I try to keep everything in the exact same place where it was. Generally, I'll take a red Sharpie and mark everything that's on the right side is red. Red is right. There's a piece of this safety spring has two legs on it, and this one of them is broken. It still functions, but one of them's broken. Alright, before I get too far along, I'm going to take some measurements this way, this way, this way, to where when I start to make the stock, I know the original dimensions of it. And I don't just measure the old stock, because this has been glued together a few times and who knows exactly if it's right or not. I'll refer to it, but I don't take that for granted. I'll put these pieces back together and measure, like the width of this. The width of it is determined by this screw here. When that screw is barely touching and looks like a pin on this side, then that's the width of that wood at that point. And so that's what I use, that's what I go by, is the size of the screw. Same thing on this vertical screw in the back. When that thing is smooth and flush right here on this top tang, that's the width of that, that's the height of that stock in that place. Those are givens. Alright, I've got my blank out. I've got my bandsaw shape cut out. Heading my center line. You know me and my addiction to center lines. And get it over to the mill. With a side lock, you have to start by milling out the top tang. The trigger group comes away, the side locks come off, and you start with the top tang and your front. The front is what takes the shock. This little block right here, you put the front of your wood, the front of your stock right up against, hitting really hard, touching well on that big block right there. All right, I've got this shotgun stripped down, pull the barrels off of it, pull the trigger off the bottom. I've got the receiver. That's what I'm going to fit. And this thing is built a little bit different than some I've seen, but not too much. I'm just going to make some real quick little lines here, just something to go by. All right, that's the side profile, the depth of my cut. And wouldn't you know it, that's got a round, it's straight for about half of it, and then it rounds over. But it comes back to about there. And the top profile, I can't get back far enough because all that is hitting. So as I go down and back and in, that's what I got to do, is go that way and that way all at the same time when I mill this out. These two top little fingers stick out past this, which is kind of unusual. I'm going to make me some little lines right here, and then I'm going to take the middle of that thing out. The middle being this part that sticks forward. I'm going to take it out between those lines, that line and that line. I'm just going to hollow that out so I can get this thing to sit back in there and get some accurate lines on it. All I'm doing is just centering this up in between the outside edges. That's all I'm doing. And centering this tang up with this center line. And I know it's got to go back further than that because these come all the way up to here. And they're not up there yet. But that's close. That's a good start. Just a starting place.